Hey everyone, today I'm going to be going through a video I saw from this content creator here. I'll put a link to the description into the video in the description. But we're going to be going through this video because it highlights something very important about applying for jobs in today's marketplace and the effects that AI is having in the hiring process. And it's way scarier than you realize. And I'm going to be kind of going through this to kind of highlight why CareerAider is such a game changer when it comes to you as a job applicant. If you want to watch this video in its entirety, make sure you use the link in the video description where you can watch it without it being uninterrupted. But fair use practices, we'll be diving into this and kind of just going along with this video. And I'm going to be highlighting exactly how CareerAider solves a lot of these problems for you as an applicant.
So the scariest thing that I've heard of lately is this new AI system that can tell employers whether or not to hire you, not based on any of your current behavior or things that, they know about you now, because trust me, they're harvesting tons of data about your current life and your current financial situation, where you live, everything. But actually, the system is allowing employers to harvest a massive amount of data on you and then hire or not hire you based on predictions this AI system makes on your personality and your future. So dystopian. So I want to get into it. And here, that's my Google Doc. So this guy, David Seligman, tweeted, "Yesterday, we filed a first in the nation class action lawsuit against Eightfold AI, a company most people have never heard of, but that plays a hidden role in deciding who gets hired at some of the biggest companies in the country." This is the New York Times story on all of this. Basically, let's see if I can close this.
Yeah, this is we are moving into black box territory when it comes to getting jobs and getting opportunities, because there are all these hidden systems which are getting data about us from all types of different sources, and those sources may or may not be reliable at all, but they are going to affect your job prospects. And she's going to dive into what this looks like, and we're going to talk more about it as we go along.
Job applicants sue to block this black box of hiring decisions. A recently filed lawsuit claims the ratings assigned by AI screening software are similar to those of a credit agency and should be subject to similar laws. So here's how this process works, and I'm going to kind of run through some of it, which is outlined here in the New York Times article. So for millions of people that are seeking jobs, they now have to not only worry about finding a job, applying to the job, doing all the manual labor that, you know what I mean, physically kind of like getting your resume into these systems, going through interview processes, et cetera. They also have to get through AI intelligence systems that screen their resumes and decide.
Yeah. So think about this. Let's say you're looking at a job you're interested in, and you decide you're going to take let's just say 30 or 45 minutes to go through that job application process. You make your resume, your cover letter, fill out all the application forms and the questionnaires, only to have your entire application just simply thrown out because of some kind of weird set of data that exists about you somewhere online. Guys, this is happening way more often than we realize. In fact, right now, like if I go to my CareerAider stats, let me see if I can pull those up real quick. I'm going to show you what I mean, because let me jump into my CareerAider. So like in my CareerAider stats right now, I'm actually tracking 322 jobs. Now right now I've got 187 that are in active applied position. So you can imagine if we take that 187, just for right now, let's just say the 322, and let's say those 322, I'm getting data about them, 322, and let's say you spend an average of 30 minutes per job. Well, somebody who's not using CareerAider is going to spend about 10,000 hours Okay, and if we divide up by 24 hours, that's 402 days worth of job applications that someone who's not using CareerAider is going to spend on applying for jobs. And many of those jobs are going to get thrown out by AI systems like she's describing in this video.
If how suitable they are. And this is kind of how credit agencies work, in the sense that they assign a numeric score to people based on their finances and borrowing history. Now, a lawsuit filed by a group of job applicants claims that some AI employment screening tools should be subject to the same reporting requirements as credit agencies. Because basically, these AI companies are harvesting a lot more data than you would think. It's not just what's on your resume that they're getting. They're getting a lot more. Using sources like LinkedIn, Eightfold has created a data set that encompasses more than 1 million job titles, 1 million skills, and the profiles of more than 1 billion people working in every job, profession, industry, and geography. That's crazy. So when a candidate applies for a job, Eightfold software evaluates their skills and the employer's needs, and then scores the applicants on a scale of 1 to 5. Job seekers say that the screening tool can be an algorithmic gatekeeper, in the sense that it blocks candidates that would be good for a job because it gives them this low score. And candidates have no way to correct this if this happens, by the way, which is obviously really unfair. So you can kind of see, some of the backlash here, but I want to dig into the actual lawsuit. This guy, Alvaro Bedoya, a former FTC commissioner and Bad Bunny stan, he says, was tweeting about this stuff. He said, this AI tells employers to hire or not hire you based on predictions about your personality and future. And you can see this section that he highlights from the complaint that reads, specifically, Eightfold assembles and evaluates. Specifically, data that Eightfold assembles and evaluates includes, among other inputs, the candidate's profile and resume. Okay, that's expected. Supplemental candidate data gathered from public sources about the candidate's professional history, blogs, publications, job application history, etc. Data pertaining to comparable employees at other companies. Predictions and inferences about the candidate's personality and future, and data used to train Eightfold's AI. This data goes far beyond the data provided by the application. This data goes far beyond the data provided by the applicant to include data that Eightfold gathers from third-party online sources and data that Eightfold's AI creates itself. This is really scary. This is really bad. So I think what's so terrifying about this new hiring environment that we've built is that it used to be that you could count on basically the person, if you apply for a job, that you would be able to tell the story of your own life. You would be able to provide the job that you're looking for with the relevant information and tell a story about your life that could hopefully get you hired. Now we're getting to this point where you have this public data profile where all of this massive amounts of data are harvested about you, and it kind of follows you around and tracks you, and it sort of sticks to you, right? All of this data. And when you go to apply for a job, of course, you're going to give your resume and your personal statement or whatever, but ultimately, these AI systems are just going to take all of these, that massive cloud of data that's affiliated with you and stuck to you, traveling around with you, and then they're going to use that and put it into their AI system to make predictions about you. And even in this case, it says Eightfold creates data about you itself. So it can create data, designating you as hireable or not hireable. And that could affect your future, if that data leaks, or if some other system harvests the Eightfold's data, that data could be used to then deny you a job. This is really bad.
It is really bad, and it's so far out of our control, and that's what's so crazy. AIs hallucinate, AIs make up things, AIs are going to find information that may or may not be relevant, and the way AI systems operate are on such high levels of complexity that even the creators themselves can never fully quite understand exactly how this data is being ingested and how it's being processed.
And so I just want to share this other post. He highlighted another post here. Sorry, once again, I swallowed gum before getting on stream and now I'm choking. He says, did you apply for jobs at Starbucks? Did you apply for jobs at a job at Starbucks and not get it? Decent chance an AI dinged you after trawling your data and on the web. So Eightfold AI is not just some random fringe system. It is being used by some of these major multinational corporations: Microsoft, Morgan Stanley, Starbucks, PayPal, Chevron, Bayer. Eightfold boasts unparalleled capabilities that screen millions of candidates and surface best fits by match scores with enhanced context, allowing recruiters to focus on final decisions rather than resumes or even first-round interviews. That is really terrible. And you can read this full complaint. It's so disturbing. It talks about basically like the history of the data harvesting industry, which I actually have a whole video on my channel as well that I'll link in the caption of this video at some point when I put it on my YouTube channel. But you can see, more of kind of what Eightfold was up to here in the complaint. The class action suit claims that Eightfold's unlawful practice of gathering, assembling, and evaluating information about job applicants through opaque machine learning processes and closely guarded algorithms, producing unreviewable reports that a growing number of employers rely on for employment decisions such as hiring. Oh yeah, because that's another thing. Sometimes companies are now using these systems for things for like promotions or who gets raises or whatever. All of this stuff is increasingly determined by AI, not by your manager, not by some like human. That's really dangerous. Eightfold generates these reports using AI-powered tools that assemble and evaluate information about prospective employees to determine their suitability that are purportedly based on factors like work history, projected career. This is what we were just talking about. Other personal characteristics. Eightfold then sells these reports to employers for use in making employment decisions, which can have profound consequences for thousands of people across the country. For job applicants, of course, this whole thing is invisible. Job applicants don't know these systems are being used. They don't know which systems are being used. They just submit their resume, submit their info, sometimes spend quite a long time writing like a personal essay, personal statement. And then they just wait for a response. But behind the scenes, these companies are using this platform that is reviewing all of their data, third-party data that's harvested on you, data that you did not provide, and it's making decisions. And you have no visibility into those decisions, and you have no ability to correct misinformation about yourself.
Yeah, basically what all this means from my perspective is this only further goes to show you how valuable what we're doing at CareerAider is. Because think about this, guys. If you're using legacy application processes like manually creating your resume, manually creating your cover letter, manually answering all these initial application questions, guys, you're wasting time. 99% of that is going to be just thrown out the window with systems like this. So you're going to have, and depending on what type of job you're going for, you're going to have to apply to hundreds, if not thousands of jobs. Okay, so like my personal goal is to apply to 1,000 jobs in 30 days. And what does that look like on the calculator? So let's say like you're using traditional application processes, manually creating your resume, manually creating your cover letter, manually doing all this stuff. And like I said before, let's say it takes you an average of 30 minutes per application, okay? So my goal right now is 1,000 applications. So how long would it take you to apply to 1,000 jobs at 30 minutes a piece for 1,000 applications? That's 30,000 hours, okay? Divide that by 24. That means you're gonna spend 1,250 days to apply to 1,000 jobs. Okay, so and I'm going to be applying to 1,000 jobs in less than 30 days. So, guys, unfortunately, getting a job in today's marketplace is simply a numbers game. You have to put out enough high quality applications that are good fits for you and your career goals, and you have to do it fast. And that is what CareerAider is for. CareerAider is here to help you overcome what is inevitable. See, what we're talking about today is inevitable. This is only going to continue to grow this way as time goes on. You're going to have a lot of companies. This is just one company. Eightfold is just one company. There's probably hundreds, if not thousands, of companies already out in the marketplace that are providing these services for HR departments, and one lawsuit's not going to stop the rest of them. So this is something that is inevitable, and it's something that's only going to continue to grow. So it's one of the reasons why I believe CareerAider is such a game changer, because it puts the power back into your hands as an applicant. Because the simple truth is, no matter how hard you work, these systems are working even harder against you as a candidate. So what we want to do is we want to work smarter, not harder.
It's terrifying. And then this is a little bit about the LLM that it uses, and the data that it's harvesting. It's kind of a long report, but I just think that this is, and there's a lot of good history actually in here about kind of the history of data privacy and credit reporting. Credit reporting companies, by the way, harvest a massive amount of data on you, and it's bad. And then here we say, with respect to hiring, Eightfold's talent intelligence program enables employers to create job profiles, assemble internal, external data for applicants, and generate web pages where applications can apply for jobs. Eightfold then evaluates and ranks those applicants using the data that they gathered, but also, again, this other data that they've purchased commercially or externally they've gathered, and then they all run it through their proprietary AI system and give them a score. This is really bleak. And here we can see some of the information about how how these systems are working. I hate this so much. I think it's really bad. I mean, David did a good long thread on it, basically. He says this case is about a dystopian AI-driven marketplace where robots operating behind the scenes are making decisions about the most important things in our lives, whether we get a job, housing, or healthcare. I think that's also really important to note, is that I think Eightfold is just being used for hiring. I think Eightfold itself is specifically like a talent hiring work platform. But similar Oops, I just knocked something over. Similar platforms are also, as he mentioned, being used to determine who gets housing and healthcare, among other opportunities. So it's really, really bad. And I've seen some people try to do these kind of secret tricks to trick, the AI algorithms. One trick that people were doing for a while ago was actually writing their resume in black and white form, but then putting almost watermarks on their resume that AI companies, they were making things white text really, 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 really small at the bottom of their resume that just had SEO keywords about the jobs. And that was helping break through AI systems. There's all these guides online and TikToks from people that are trying to explain to job applicants essentially how to optimize your information to get past this AI. But I think what's so scary now is that no matter what you do and what you give to these companies like Eightfold, or say you go to apply to a job at Starbucks and you give them, information about yourself, it doesn't matter because they've harvested all of this information about your life already from all of these commercially available data sources, all of these other things. So it's really bad. Do you guys have any questions? Sorry, I haven't looked at the chat. It won't be long until they use AI to determine if you deserve Social Security. Yeah, literally. Yeah, and also these algorithms are not transparent. They're obviously discriminatory in different ways, and I think that we know that they're biased in the ways that they're created. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Yeah, this is really bad. It's we're living in a dystopian reality, where um, these machines are making these decisions, and unfortunately, we have no real way to know why they're making the decisions that they are, and that is scary. So really, to drive my point home about why we're developing CareerAider is for this very reason, because the truth is, no matter how many lawsuits go through, no matter how many people get upset about these things, this is an uphill battle, guys. It's inevitable. Companies are going to continuously and forever more expansively rely on AI systems to handle all the legwork or the difficult work of looking through resumes and actually looking at people. And unfortunately, you have very little control over what these AIs are seeing. And this means, just point of fact, most, probably 99% of your job applications, even if you're a perfect fit for the job, are going to be just simply thrown away. So when you spend that 30 minutes to 45 minutes on that job application, making your resume, making your cover letter, doing all those things, you're wasting your time. It's a complete waste of time. And that is what CareerAider is so amazing at. I mean, like, let's say, I'll go ahead and just give you an example of how easy it is to apply for a job with CareerAider. So I'm looking at this global payments, right? So let me just look at this job here real quick. Now, this is a job I've already added to my job list, and I'm going to click on view job posting, which is going to take me through the original job posting for this job. And then I'm going to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and apply for this job. I'm just going to show you how easy it is with CareerAider and why I don't really stress over the issues she's bringing up too much, because it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm going to spend a few minutes applying for this job. So let's just say here, those I'm trying to read. Okay, so like this one here, there doesn't even seem to be a real easy way to apply for this job. Let me see if I'm just not seeing it because only essential. Let me see if I can. This is a great example. I'm looking at this job application here, and I don't even see a place to actually apply. Am I missing something here? I'm not sure how to even apply. This is a great example. So I'm going to go back to CareerAider. I'm going to be like, take a look at the copy from this job posting. Do you see a way for me to apply? I don't see an apply button. Okay, so let's let the AI do the hard work. I'm just not seeing it. This kind of, oh, there we go. Apply right there. Cool, got it. All right, so let's go ahead and apply for this job. I'm going to say autofill with a resume. Now, at this point, you might be tempted to spend 30 or 45 minutes creating your resume. Just going to go ahead. Create that. Create account. All right, so let me just jump back over here real quick. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Where we got that for a second. Okay, so let me go ahead and generate my custom resume and cover letter. So we worked really hard to make sure that the resume is extremely ATS friendly. Now, that does not mean it's like foolproof or bulletproof. There can always be improvements, and you can always come in here and edit the resume and cover letter if you want to fine tune it. That's up to you. I don't waste time doing that because, as we're showing right now, it probably doesn't matter. More than likely, your resume is just going to be thrown out anyways. So to me, it's kind of a matter of balancing time versus energy and benefit. Is it really going to make that big of a difference if I go through and fine tune the resume? Probably not. It's probably going to be thrown out regardless. Some people might consider that kind of like a defeatist attitude, but as we're kind of showing, there are so much involved in the hiring process that's well beyond your control. You know, you could have the perfect resume, perfect cover letter, but one of these AI systems finds some kind of anomaly, so maybe a post you put from 5 years ago, or somebody said something on some form about you somewhere, and now that's going to get included in your score. So it's not even worth the time and energy to stress over. So I'm literally just going to click download PDF. There you go. My resume, a custom resume done for this job. And I'm just going to drop back over here. I'm going to drop this right in here. Boom, boom, just like that. Continue, and hopefully it pulls out data. If it doesn't, it's no big deal. I'm still not going to be stressed about it. How did you hear about it? I don't know. Where's CareerAider at? Not on the list. No, United States. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not going to stress out over all this. Okay. All right, so go ahead and drop the resume in here. I guess they wanted a second time. And my primary language, I'm going to put English. I'm fluent, comprehension, fluent, overall, fluent, reading, fluent, fluent, fluent. LinkedIn, grab my LinkedIn URL. Okay, oops. Drop that in there. All right, application questions. Yes, I am. High school. I don't know, let's just say 180K. Sure. No. I don't even know why they ask so many of these questions. To me, like, I don't understand. Some of these job applications, the questions they ask are just crazy. So, all right, so put today's date. Then review and submit. And there you go. Now I've submitted my resume, my application. I'm going to drop back over to CareerAider. I'm going to mark this job as applied. Yes, I've applied. Yes, and there we go. That's how easy it is to apply for a job with CareerAider. Now, some of you out there who are not using CareerAider, you might have spent 30 to 45 minutes just on what I just did there in that less than probably 4 minutes. So imagine you doing that hundreds or thousands of times. And the time that CareerAider saves you is just so, I can't even overstate how amazing it is to use CareerAider for this process, because there's no way I could achieve the results I'm doing right now if I didn't have CareerAider. There's just simply no way. 322 jobs already that I've processed. So you can see now I'm at 188 that are in the active applied position right now. So just to go and show you how powerful that is.
Oh, you said, I've noticed my managers and hiring managers use it even when you're employed. I mean, this is kind of the issue, is that for these big companies, they're just increasingly relying on AI and these AI systems. And they're getting a lot more data about you in the real world. Everything that you do, everywhere that you go, everything that you buy. If you're late on a payment for something or you miss something, like maybe again, like your car is collecting all this data and you run a few red lights and that makes you, deemed reckless. And so then you don't get the job that you're up for. Like there's just so much opportunity to have your own data used against you. This is once again why we want data privacy laws. That's what we want. We want anti-surveillance laws. We don't want these stupid, identity verification systems, which are just going to create even more data. Because let me tell you this, what these companies are going to get if we pass things like the Kids Online Safety Act or these Keep Kids Off Social Media Act, whatever, all this BS moral panic outrage, which I really encourage you to watch my latest video on my main channel about some of this stuff. If we pass those laws pretty soon, they are going to effectively remove anonymity from the internet, and absolutely everything that you see and read and consume and engage with online will also be part of your data profile. So if you think it's bad,
yeah, and this is getting this gets into a lot of scary territory, right? It's like people have no idea how much of their data is being tracked when they're online, and it is scary because this information is getting stored, it's getting published, it's becoming accessible to these AI systems, and if you are not moving to like the next layer of the internet, and not the anonymous layer of the internet, rapidly through everything you're doing, you are going to be left behind. If you're on legacy internet where everything you're doing is controlled by third-party companies and systems, you are walking into a disaster. I will tell you, if you go to my blog, I write a lot about these topics. I write a lot about these topics, and I actually have a project I'm working on called the United Nations of the Earth. And I would highly recommend that you go check that article out. If you go to my portfolio and scroll like towards the middle, I'll put a link in the description of this video. Click on the United Nations of the Earth. I actually kind of built a blueprint for kind of an anonymous internet layer where people can communicate and interact on an anonymous layer, but also cryptographically signed. You would need to click on create a new internet, this one right here, the building the foundation, creating a new internet for the United Nations of the Earth. So if you are on this legacy system where governments and companies are controlling all of your data, you're putting yourself in a situation. We have all got to begin to move to a free internet again that is uncontrolled, unconstrained, and uncensored. And this is where we need to be moving to as a civilization, because this system is a scary system, because this system has full control over everything about your digital identity. And that is a very real concern. I'm glad you brought that up.
Now, it's about to get 10 times worse, because imagine you read the wrong articles, you watch the wrong YouTube videos, you're consuming content that maybe implies that you're skeptical of the government, or makes you seem like, you're too progressive, or that you have sort of radical beliefs in certain areas. Not only can the government use that against you, employers are now soon going to be able to have that sort of information incorporated into these scores, and you're not going to get hired. You're going to be seen as, too controversial or too reckless or too much of a liability. So I think all of this stuff is so dangerous. And if you click on the Times article and read the full the full lawsuit, it is really damning, and they kind of go through in great detail how this score system work, how Eightfold works, and basically how bad this has been for these workers, and how wrong also these AI tools are about people's backgrounds, because they do get things wrong and there's no way to fix it. So I do think that they should be regulated as credit agencies. I wish they didn't even exist, honestly. But since they have to exist, apparently, I wish we would at least regulate them and regulate the amount of data that they could harvest, because.
And this gets to a chief problem. You're never going to be able to fully regulate these systems. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. A company could hire someone like me to come in and build them their own custom AI algorithm, right? Their own custom AI application to do these processes, right? How can that be regulated? Who will regulate it? How would you even regulate it, right? The cat is out. The cat is out of the box, as they would say. So we are now past the point of trying to. This is just one company. Like I mentioned earlier, there are thousands of companies building these systems, and in the future there will be millions of companies and millions of individuals and millions of teams building systems like this. And as she mentions, they are not foolproof. They are not foolproof at all. They're going to make all types of mistakes, from very severe mistakes to very small mistakes. But no matter the mistake, it's going to have major implications and ramifications, not just for thousands of people, but for millions, hundreds of millions, right? And this is why systems like CareerAider, to me, are so powerful, because it's a math game. It's a math problem. You have to apply to hundreds, if not thousands of jobs. And it may come in a time in the near future where you may have to apply to tens of thousands of jobs in order to get an opportunity. Put that in perspective.
Apparently, I wish we would at least regulate them and regulate the amount of data that they could harvest, because it's really, really bad. I think some of these experts, David Walton, the Philadelphia lawyer who works with employers on AI issues, said that companies could make a valid argument for the. I can't stand the New York Times, you guys. Why are we quoting some pro AI? Whatever. Let's not hate on him. Let's see what he says. He might just be giving his own opinion and not be pro AI. He works with employers on AI issues. That could go one of either way. Anyway, he said, companies can make a valid argument that these tools are different than how credit scoring works. The hiring software, he said, can be viewed as simply ranking candidates in the same way a human recruiter might sort applicants into tiers of desirable and less desirable. Yeah, but a human applicant is not taking into account millions and millions of data points collected over this entire person's life, including data that they didn't present. Still, Mr. Walton said that as companies push the boundaries of what AI tools can do, they're often operating in legally gray areas, especially around data privacy and technology that may illegally discriminate against people, even if it's not explicitly trained to do so. Quote, these tools are designed to be biased. I mean, they're designed to find a certain type of person. So they're designed to be biased, but they're not designed to be improperly biased. And that's a very fine line. The New York Times.
Yeah, actually, there was this big article about, I think it was Microsoft. I think Microsoft actually had to disband their AI HR software because it was unfairly biasing towards men applying for the jobs, because predominantly all the data it had in the past had a majority of men, because men made up a lot of the technical workforce in software engineering. And so after using their system for a while, they realized, the AI system's been unfairly biasing towards men and causing this causing a problem where women had a harder time getting a job working for the company. So that's actually why when I apply for jobs, I try to, a lot of times I'll just play prefer not to answer. I don't answer any of those questions about my race, my gender, my sexual orientation, as if that's anybody's business. I don't know why that's even on job applications in the first place. And all types of other characteristics that are these arbitrary characteristics that really has nothing to do with whether or not I'm a good fit for that role. So, but yeah, that's definitely true. This is happening in real time. We're watching it.
And that's a very fine line. The New York Times, they will like both sides anything, I swear to God. And then it's just, yeah, little like updates on the case. Let's see. Jenny Yang, a former chair of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission appointed during the Obama administration and one of the lawyers representing the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, said that the commission began studying algorithmic hiring systems more than a decade ago. We realized they were fundamentally changing how people were hired. People were getting rejected in the middle of the night and nobody knew why. Wow. Because these AI tools. So frustrating.
I get a lot of emails in the middle of the night from jobs I've applied to. I'll give you an example. And it is crazy seeing the rejection letters. You know, I could imagine not using CareerAider and just being completely frustrated because you have all these oh, I'm sorry, you didn't apply, you didn't like, thank you for your time and learning. After careful consideration, we've decided to move forward with other candidates. That's fine. So I can imagine if I would have spent 45 minutes on this application, how devastated an email like that would get. But for me, I just come into my jobs and I just search for that job real quick. This is just one of hundreds of jobs I've applied to. So it doesn't bother me. I just go in here and I just click on rejected, just like that. So nice and easy, no frustration. Took me 5 minutes to apply for that job. It doesn't matter, right? I'm gonna get hundreds of rejections. I think right now, let's see here. I've been rejected from 25 roles. So 25 roles, if we look at that on a calculator, you know, let's imagine you're one of those guys, one of those people who's not using CareerAider, and you spent 45 minutes on each one of those job applications. That would have been 1,125 hours you would have spent on those 25 roles that got rejected. Divide that by 24 hours. That means you would have wasted 46. I would have wasted 46 days on those job applications. And this is why people are so frustrated. And a lot of people don't even realize why they're so frustrated with applying for jobs. They kind of understand, but they haven't actually put the math to the paper yet. They haven't actually looked and said, wow, I just wasted 46 hours of my life only to get rejected from a job, and no human probably even saw my job application. Okay, so that's why people are frustrated. And for people out there who are looking for jobs and you're frustrated, this is why you're frustrated. So, and this is the reason why I really believe CareerAider is a game changer for job applicants, not just job applicants, for the entire job market, because the job application process is the bottleneck. It is the bottleneck. It's preventing the right people from getting involved in the right opportunities. If you really think about it, finding the right fit let me put it this way. There are over 8 billion people on this planet, okay? That means statistically, There are probably millions of jobs out there right now at this very moment. There are probably millions of jobs that you would be a perfect fit for, and that if you apply for those specific jobs, you would probably get hired almost instantly. I know that's hard to believe. It's very hard, difficult to believe because our minds don't work on large numbers like this. But with 8 billion people on the planet, just statistically, there are going to be millions of jobs literally right now as I'm talking. And as you're watching this video, there are millions of great jobs out there that would be an amazing fit for you, and you would be an amazing fit for them. And if you happen to apply for those jobs with a customized resume and cover letter, your chances of getting those jobs would be very high. But because there are so many jobs out there, there are 8 billion people on the planet, connecting the right person to the right job is literally like finding a needle in a haystack. This is why most people just give up on job searching altogether, because it is so frustrating. And it is only going to get more and more frustrating with systems like this. And that is why CareerAider exists. CareerAider exists to help you find those opportunities by sheer brute force. You know, if you can apply to hundreds or thousands of jobs, the chances of you finding an opportunity go up exponentially. And this is even in spite of these AI tools, this is still the case, and it's going to be even more the case. As time goes on, as I mentioned earlier, you may have to actually be applying to maybe tens of thousands of jobs. That is a reality we could be moving to in the next 5 to 10 years. Very realistic. So what you need is your own AI assistant to help you do that work. And that is what CareerAider does. So if you're interested in learning more about CareerAider, just simply go to CareerAider.com, and you can watch this video. Kind of has a little quick rundown of how CareerAider works. Then in the second video, at the time of this recording, this second video, I show you how you can apply to a job in less than 5 minutes, which I kind of did in this video as well, but that kind of will break it down for you a little bit more. And then you can always join our beta waitlist. We are opening it up right now for waitlist signups right now. So we're in early testing. So we're testing out features, making sure everything is working, make sure everything is nice and streamlined. And so far, it's been a great experience. Like I've shown you here in this video, I am actively using it for myself. As I'm testing the systems, I built CareerAider for myself as my secret weapon to go and to find opportunities. But now I'm opening it up to the entire world. So anybody can use this system to help them streamline their job application processes and hopefully find that needle in a haystack that you've been looking for. So with that said, I want to thank the speaker from today, Taylor Lorenz. Great video. Make sure you check out her channel. The link is in the description. Like and subscribe. And as always, be good, or be good at it.